Page 28, Sleepers Awake. This is another famous melody by J.S. Bach. There are a few piano arrangements around. If I find the one I'm looking for, which is the one by Cortot, I like his arrangement the best, if I ever find it, because it's not being published anymore. Then I'll learn it and play it for the piano club. I think it's wonderful. This is a very pretty melody. Well, let's talk about it. 4/4 time. I want to cover the right hand. This is in the key of G major. And as usual with a lot of the Bach stuff, you're kind of getting two different melodies. So we're going to hear two different melodies as we go through this. The first one at the beginning is 1 and 2 and 3 and as has a 1 beat pickup. So we come in on beat 4. So it's 4 and 1 and 2 and watch the fingering, third finger there. And you go ahead and do this slurs like they're doing. Just lift up between each one. So just work out these notes very carefully because you're moving around quite a bit. I don't want to point everything out. I'm sure you can figure this out. Going on, last measure of the second line, 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Fourth line down, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Gotta cross over the thumb. Now, as far as the slurring goes, I think I would connect all these slurs. Again, this looks more like a bowing indication for violins than slurs. So when the fourth line down on these eighth note runs, I'd connect them all together. So it's here, 2. Now lift it up and connect all of this together. Right, all that is one slur, and then go on. C sharp at the top of page 29. Watch that fingering, second measure. 1, 2, 3. And then lift up. Now it's 1, 2, 1 because we need the octave coming up. Change fingers, and now it's tied. So let's talk about the last two measures of the second line here. It's 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2. See, it's tied for the 1 is tied. You don't play it again. I mean, at first, if it's messing you up, go ahead and play it. But eventually, you got to take it out. So if I play those two measures without the tie, it sounds like this. So you're playing everything. But when you can do that comfortably, put that tie back in. Just hang on to that D an extra half a count. So it's here. 2, 1. And I would slur all that together. Fourth line staccatos. Now, you're hitting with the thumb on the fourth line, you cross over for the last line to a 2. And then the 16th notes, 1 and a 2 and a. It's twice as fast as the 8th note. So it's 1 and 2 and 1 and a 2 and a 1 and 2 and like so. And top of page 30 is more of what you've already had. Had all this before. Let's go over to page 31. Second line. Let's just start there. Your third finger on the F sharp. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then watch the fingering. 1, 2, 3. Rest. We need to hear the rest. 2. And the last measure of the second line. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So you got a tied note again. 1 and 2. Bach used a lot of syncopation too, huh? 1, fourth line. Watch the fingering. Staccatos. And here, to me, this is all I'm ignoring their slurs by this point, because at the beginning when you have this, that's fine, that's one thing, but when we get over in all these runs and stuff, I prefer to do it by the phrases. And if you just listen to it, you can hear these musical sentences, and that's how you phrase it, and that's where you lift your hands up. So the last 3 lines on page 31, I'm going to connect all of this. I could lift up, it's an interpretive thing, I could lift up on the 4th line down and phrase it like they're telling you. Lift up between the C and the F sharp. But then at the end of the 4th line on this, I'm going to connect that to the rest of the 8th notes and run them all together. Now, last 2 measures, you have that trill. They're showing you the fingering is 2, 3. Now it's a matter of interpretation on this trill. We'll just do it the way they're saying to do it. Keep it simple. They've got 4 finger numbers there. For the 4, 2, 3, 4, 4, start with a G. 4, 2, 3, 2. That's the trill. We're starting the trill on the upper note. Well, that's good. I like to do that anyways. So it's start the measures here, and you have 3rd finger on the 8th note. And so you're going to start the trill on the G. Then 2, right there. Just those 4 notes. Play them as 16th notes. And hang on to the last one as long as you have to make up the rest of the time until you're ready to do the G. So in rhythm, it's 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... So it's 3 and 4. Just hang on to it. It's like it's tied. And then the 8th note is on the end of 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and that's how I recommend. There's other ways of interpreting this, but that's what we'll do for now. It's close enough, gets it across. Now the left hand. The left hand is just supporting. Keep the left hand down. There's half notes, pretty simple. All you're doing is just helping with the harmony and staying out of the way. At the top of page 29, they're fingering, they're showing a 1, 2, and then a 2, 1, and then a 2. I suggest you do it this way. Start out okay, but then in the last measure, instead of a 2, I recommend a 4th finger. You need to be able to do this anyway, so just put 4th finger there. Now you're in position to do the rest of it. Till the last measure of the 2nd line, you come back down. 4th line down, staccatos with the right hand. Now, 4th line, 2nd measure, they have a 4 with a 5 in parentheses. They're telling you it's an alternate fingering. 4th finger or 5th finger. It's up to you. Depends on how big your hand is. Because it's a 7th going down, an interval of a 7th. Have we had intervals? I don't know. So if the 4 is too far away, then use 5th finger, but make sure you get 3rd finger on the C sharp. And then thumb, because you got to come down some more, 3rd finger. And then the last measure, cross over. On page 31. The first line seems to be okay, just finger it the way they're telling you to. In the 2nd line, I suggest you reach up with your 2nd finger and play the D with 2nd finger. You don't have to cross over. Then it's thumb, 3rd finger, next measure, 2nd finger, 4th finger, and now you thumb on the C for the next line. Well, doing this, there's no crossing over, so I think that works out much better. Now the last 2 lines, you have a whole note, and then staccatos, and then legato, last line crossover, and I would connect all of these, slur them all together. Here, and then you can lift up, and then The only pedal they're showing in this is at the very end, and I see no reason for it. If you're not going to use pedal in anything else, and you shouldn't, I don't see any point in using pedal here. So I'm going to leave pedal out on this one. And that last note with the fermata, I'm going to hold that for 6 counts. I'm just doubling the value. When you're really playing it, you would just hang on to it until it feels right, whatever that is. So you work the hands out one at a time and get the fingering. Dynamic wise, it's to the melody. It's medium loud at the beginning. This is the right hand. Keep the left hand down. Your right hand's moving around so much, you're going to have to look down quite a bit. So be prepared for that, because the beat's got to go on. Don't hesitate. Anyway, going on. Now it's soft. Pick the pickup to the last measure in the second line. Now it's soft. It's like an echo of what you just did. Now you come up just a little bit, medium soft. Bottom, you have that swell. You're going to get louder to the B. Right there is where you're after. And then at the top of page 29, you got another swell. And then come back down. Again. Now you're medium loud again. At the bottom, the last line, you're going to swell up a little bit. You can come down before you swell, because we don't want to go from a medium loud to a loud, and we don't want to get any louder. So come down and then go back up and then come back down, so it's hard. And that's where you're after. And then you come down, back down to a soft. So you're starting out soft there. So at the top of page 30, you're soft here. You're staying soft. Now, I don't know if that's intentional or not, because normally you wouldn't play it, that motif, twice like that at the same dynamic. So I don't know if it's a misprint, and you should be medium loud or medium soft, at least a little louder at the top of the page, so that in the second line, when you do it again, you can come down a little bit. So in my opinion, maybe you should be a medium soft at the top, not soft, which means at the previous page at the bottom, instead of soft, make it medium soft and go from there. Now, moving on. Third line on page 30, we're soft here, because if you go up medium soft at the top of the page, then when you get to the first measure of the second line, the pickup to the next measure, that's soft. That's now come up a little bit again. That swell, you're going to go up to the B, the first note on the next page, so watch out. Now you're medium soft. The next measure, you're going to go up a little more. Then back down. Now, third line, you got a crescendo as you... You're not going to get really loud. Just go up a little bit as you come down, and you're after these notes in the last measure. So, and then the next line, you come back down. Last line, come up a little, and then here, and then come back down. I don't know that I like a decrescendo at the end. It seems to me like it should end with a statement. It should end at, at least medium loud there. Like so. In my mind it does. They've got that decrescendo there, I'm not sure. There's also a retardando there, you can slow down. But I still don't like the decrescendo there. I would keep the same dynamic, I think. So you just work all that out. Take your time, it's a beautiful melody. In the actual piece, there is another melody, a counter melody that shows up. It's like the other Bach pieces we've studied where there's actually two melodies that kind of take turns. Well, there's another melody in here, although they didn't bring it out in this arrangement. But it's a beautiful, I highly recommend you go listen to it. There you can get an idea of really how fast it goes, because I've been playing it a little bit fast, maybe. It's on Dante, I mean that's just a nice comfortable speed. 1, 2, 3. It's a little slower than moderato is all. 1. But you'll hear different people play it at different speeds. Some people will play it at the speed I demonstrated it. Some people will play it much slower. So you're going to have to decide how fast you're going to go, because it's a range and it's an interpretive thing, and what do you think? I like to do a play with me section on this, and we're going to go really slow. Now we got a page turn, so we're going to do pages 28 and 29 and stop, and then we'll turn the page and I'll count us in again, and then we'll do the other pages. But if you're going to play this with people and you don't have it memorized, you got to be able to make that page turn without messing up the beat. How do you do that? Because both hands are busy. This gets hard. And really in this kind of thing, if you don't have it memorized, you're almost forced to leave out notes, because you got to make the page turn and the music's got to keep going. Then the question is, okay, which notes do you leave out? Well, at the bottom of page 29, the last measure, you have this. I would recommend you leave out that last note in the right hand, the pickup beat. Leave it out and use the right hand while the left hand is doing this. Leave it, then turn the page real quick. That's the best I can come up with. If you got a better idea, go for it. So this has a pickup beat, so I'm going to give us 3 counts, because we come in on beat 4, and we're going to play this very slowly to double check the notes and the rhythms. There's accidentals you got to be watching out for, and there are a lot of crossing the thumb over and changing hand positions and all that. I'm not going to do the dynamics. You can do the dynamics eventually. This is just to check notes and rhythms. So go ahead and put your hands where they go. One, ready, and go, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and rest. Rest. 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1. Rest. And 1, and 2, and turn the page, hands where they go, give us 4 counts. 1, 2, ready, and go, and hold, 2, 3, off.